Hello and welcome to Get Real Football Experts. I am Dave Kress, and today I am not joined by Louis Debe because it's the first edition of the schedule rundowns. All 32 teams we will be doing. I will be doing 16 myself, and Louis will be doing 16. He is currently recording one right now. I don't know if you can hear him in the background. Hopefully not. But so I will be starting. We're starting with the NFC North, and I'm starting with the Bears today. I'll be going over each and every week, saying if I got the win or not. So I also have the Packers coming up my next episode. Louis doing, I believe he's doing the Vikings right now, and then he'll be getting to the Lions soon enough. So we're gonna be good, and then once we get to the end of all of our schedules, we will do division videos where it's gonna be a good time. So here we go, the Bears. Week 1, they are taking on the Bengals at home. I think this is going to be a loss. I really like what the Bengals have done just throughout their past course of the couple of years. Dalton's not a star quarterback. He's not elite, but with a guy like A.J. Green, you don't really need to be. He's obviously shown he can do it, making 2 playoff appearances in his 2 seasons as an NFL starting quarterback. And I think they're going to be coming out swinging at home. They added a nice compliment to Dalton and Tyler Eifert, the tight end out of Notre Dame. So I really think that the Bengals are going to win this game, even though I think the Bears are a solid group. They also have a great offense, which I'll get to on more in this episode. So that brings us into Week 2 for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to give them their first win of the year here. It's like back-to-back home games here. The Vikings, they obviously, that whole talk was about their 3 first-round picks in the draft. They had Cordarrelle Patterson last when they traded for the Patriots. They had Antonio, who's going to go on the other side of Greg Jennings, the newly added, well, not new. Yeah, he's newly added, but he's not new. He's pretty old. He's getting up there in age. Playing from the division with a division rival for a while now with the Packers. So then obviously they have Peterson, Ponder's still there, and then they added Sharif Floyd, the defensive tackle. I didn't expect him to fall that far, but he did. I thought he was going 3, and then when the Raiders traded that pick, I thought he was going to where they had him, their pick at 12, and he didn't. He fell. And they also got Xavier Rhodes, who also I thought fell. I thought all 3 of their first-round draft picks fell. With those 3, they all should have, and most people's boards went ahead of where they did. So I thought that was really interesting to see that, even though the first round was kind of bland. So Week 1 win, I think. I like Cutler. Cutler's not the best guy. He's kind of a crybaby, and if he really can just drop down that interception rate, he should be a pretty good quarterback next year. He didn't really add. Well, all he added that will be receiving the ball is Martellus Bennett, the tight end who was formerly played for the New York Giants. I believe he was the first free agent signed on the free agency frenzy day on March 11th. So I think that the Bears will pull this Week 2 win out. They don't really need these huge receivers because they obviously had Brandon Marshall, who, as much as he had an outstanding year last year, and as much as I hate to say it because I kept him in my fantasy league, I don't think he's going to have that same year as last year. I think it's going to be hard to put up that much yards. I believe he was about 1,500 receiving yards last year. Great amount of touchdowns. So I think that might have been double-digit touchdowns for him. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't doubt it. He was 3rd in the league for receiving yards, so that was interesting. So I'll give the Week 2 win to the Bears to make them 1-1. So then Week 3, their first road game of the year, they're going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. That should be a good game. And I'm going to say the Bears pulled this one out too. I think the Steelers really have went downhill the past few years. They lost Mendenhall this offseason to Arizona. He's injury-prone. He's going to face injuries this year, most likely. His ankle, everything. He's just really banged up, and they don't really have a great backup quarterback. I think they drafted one. I couldn't name him off my top of my head, man. But they also have Charlie Batch, he was like 40 or something. He's old. So their starting running back, I believe they got Le'Veon Bell, the rookie running back. They also have Isaac Redmond still there, Jonathan Dwyer. So they're just a mess. They lost Mike Wallace to Miami, their huge #1 receiver, so I just don't think the Steelers will win this game. On the other side, they're still, even with the loss of Brian Urlacher, they're still going to have a nice, good defense next year with Lance Briggs and Julius Peppers. I mean, I like the Bears this year. I think they can easily make the playoffs. I mean, they should have been a playoff team last year, except for that end of the season meltdown. I was really surprised by that, and I was also surprised by the firing of Lovie Smith. I mean, he brought 10-6. I mean, it's not his fault that they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, it's rare if you go 10-6 and miss the playoffs. That's not going to happen every year. And but they brought in the new guy, Mark Trestman. Even though he's not new, he's new as an NFL head coach, but he has had experience in the NFL. Came from the CFL, the Antoinettes. Couldn't say where they're from. So I'll give this one a win, making them 2-1 on that Sunday night game in Pittsburgh. Week 4, they're taking on their second division game of the year, and this one's at the Lions. Well, obviously the Lions, they really were disappointing last year, going 4-12. Before the year before that, they had a playoff appearance, and then a couple of years before that, they had 1 win. So, or was it no wins? I don't know. They had the first overall pick when they drafted Matt Stafford. So, I think I'm going to give this win to the Bears. Even the Lions, they had Ziggy Ansah, who, at this point, we're going to find out what he's worth. But he's just so raw. He's a tremendous athlete, but he's only started like 10 or 11 games in his college career. He hasn't played football that long, so that's going to be an interesting one to see. I know Nick Fairley, who they picked defensive tackle a couple of years back, he didn't really work out with some injuries and off the field problems. So I'll give this one to the Bears, making them 3-1 after Week 4. Week 5, the Saints. They got their head coach back in Sean Payton, and obviously Drew Brees will be playing amazing as always. They also still have Jimmy Graham, Darren Sproles. I like their offense. I mean, they got Kenny Vaccaro, the safety, to help out with their defense. So I think that the Saints are going to win this one, actually. I think that might be a bit of a surprise, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints... I mean, Brees is just such a dominant quarterback that even with a bad defense, he still manages this team. I mean, their defense was ranked 32 last year. I think that's going to go up. Well, there's nowhere to go but up. But I got to give this one to the Saints at the Week 5. So then, Week 6, it's home against the Giants. And I'm going to give this one a loss. This is on Thursday Night Football. I mean, the Giants, they're a streaky team. I mean, you never know. They could be 5-0 at this point going into this game. But I wouldn't even know. They could be 2-4, who knows, or 2-3, who knows with the Giants. And this one's on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. So I remember, I grew up with I lived with a couple of huge Giants fans, and I remember so I watched most of their games, unless they're playing when my Bills are playing, which is pretty much always at 1 o'clock, and which they're playing at 1 o'clock every game except for 3 games this year. So, but last year on Thursday night, the Giants steamrolled the Panthers, and I think the Giants are pretty good at night, and I think they're gonna win this one. Giants are knocking the Bears back to 3-3. I mean, at this point, I'm guessing by who knows whenever you're listening to it, it might be summer, and they might have retained Victor Cruz, but it's just the beginning of May while we're recording this because it's our first schedule rundown. And Cruz right now, he hasn't showed up for the volunteer workouts, and I'm guessing that's because of his contract. He's a restricted free agent, and so his only chances are sign the deal with the Giants or hold out and go for the long-term deal, which he rightfully deserves. I mean, he's done nothing but produce for the Giants the past few years. Helped them get a ring 2 years ago in 2011 and scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, so that's interesting. I can't wait to see how that one pulls out. But in this Week 6, I'm going to give it to a loss to the Bears, making them 3-3. In Week 7, at the Redskins, I think this is going to be a great game in Washington. Obviously, the phenomenon of RG3 is going to be interesting because who knows what's going to happen with him. I think he's going to be ready for Week 1, or if he'll be ready for here. I mean, he's ahead of schedule. A couple weeks ago, at the Redskins Stadium, he came out there and he did some jumping jacks for the crowds. and stuff. So he's improving, and I'm expecting him to be there for the season. But if not, well, he will be there. But also they have a good running back in Alfred Morris. But who knows? I mean, if you've heard of like Shahanigans or something like that, where you never know what Mike Shanahan's going to do with running back. I mean, last year everyone thought the starter was going to be either Roy Halou Jr. or Evan Royster, but no, this kid, well, I'm a kid too. I don't know. I can't call him a kid, but Alfred Morris comes out and produces, has one of the most yards, some of the most rushing yards in the year last year for running backs. So that was great. But their defense is not that great. I think this is going to be a tough game, and I'm going to give it to the Bears. And they're going to need a break, and they're going to take a Week 8 bye, being 4-3 there. So then they come back off the bye on a Monday night game, so they got a lot of time off to face the Packers in Lambeau Field against the Aaron Rodgers, who's just outstanding. I'll actually be doing the Packers scheduled tomorrow, not tomorrow, next time. No, it's interesting because we did these last year, except we were doing them all together. We did I don't know how many, like 28 videos, and I always wondered if I had the same games. Like I have them splitting this year, the Bears and Packers, but I wonder when I come back to do their schedule if I'll split them again. But who knows? So Monday Night Football, I'm going to give this one to the Packers in Lambeau. They've got a great fan base. Even with the loss of Greg Jennings, it's not even that big of a loss because of his injuries. They did just fine without him last year until the playoffs, but they still have Randall Cobb, who's an up-and-coming superstar. They still have Jordy Nelson, who was a great 2 years back, and just battled some ankle injuries this year, which held him back. They still have James Jones, who was a touchdown machine last year. Now they got two good young running backs, Eddie Lacy in the draft, and Jonathan Franklin out of UCLA, speed guy and power guy in Eddie Lacy. Franklin, the speed guy. And both of them can catch passes, so they both fit into that offense. And that's going to be interesting. Also, with Dayton Jones to improve the Packers' defense. I like the Packers this year, and they re-signed Rodgers, but on the defense, they re-signed Clay Matthews. They still have B.J. Raji. Now they have Dayton Jones. They're looking pretty good defensive-wise, even though with the loss of Charles Woodson. I think they'll be okay. So I'll give this one to the Packers over the Bears, and giving them the Bears a 4-4 record after 9 weeks, 8 games. So in Week 10, it's a home against the Lions, second appearance this year. First one I had the Bears winning, and I'm actually going to give the second one a win to the Bears here. I like the Lions this year. I think they're going to definitely improve from last year's 4-12 disappointing season, but I just don't think they match up against a great Bears defense. And they also have a great offense too. I mean, I really like Matt Forte. I don't know if Michael Bush is still there, but if he is, that's just great. That's just bad for him. I mean, Forte is pretty injury prone. He gets that ankle injury, but when he's there, I mean, he is just outstanding. He can run, he can receive. I know a couple years back before Marshall got there, he was their leading receiver. So I think the Bears are going to pull out this Week 10 win over the Lions. So then Week 11, they stay home to take on the Ravens, the reigning Super Bowl champions. And this is going to be an interesting game because the Ravens might be the Super Bowl team that lost the most from the year before, losing Ray Lewis, obviously. Then they lost, what's his name, that linebacker? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Ed Reed, they lost. It'll come to me in a few minutes. They lost Ed Reed. They lost Anquan Bolden in a trade for a 6th-round pick. I really thought that was a bad trade. I think the 49ers won that trade easily. They had so many picks and they just got rid of it. And I just thought the Lions, but they really did build back. They got Elam in the first round to replace Ed Reed. So I don't know. I'm gonna give this win to the Bears though. I think it's a bit of an upset, and I mean, I like the Bears this year, like I kept saying. I think they're going to be good this year, maybe a playoff team. So I think they can easily match up to the Ravens and take the win. So, Week 12, they're at the Rams in St. Louis. I'm actually going to give this one a loss. I really like what Les Snead and the Rams did in the draft. They traded up with my Bills to get Tavon Austin, replacing Danny Amendola, but Dannell Ellerbe, that's who the linebacker. I can't believe I just forgot about him. The linebacker that the Ravens lost, so that was weird. And then, so the Rams, back to the Rams, they traded up with my Bills to get an 8th overall Tavon Austin to replace Danny Amendola, and that was a good trade in my opinion. I thought that was pretty good. I wanted Tavon Austin myself for Buffalo, even though they got Robert Woods in the 2nd round, so I can't complain. Even though there's been a lot of heat for that Manuel pick, 16th overall. But they should have traded that thing back and kept getting Manuel, but not a draft episode. This is a Bears schedule episode. So the Rams, now they still have Chris Gibbons. They still have Brandon Quick, or is it Brian Quick? I don't know. They have Quick and Tavon Austin now. So they're going to be pretty good this year. I think they're not going to make the playoffs in my opinion. And I don't know if I have this team for my schedules, but they're not going to be. I wouldn't be that surprised if they make it. I mean, they're a good team. I would not really be surprised if they make it. I think they're going to put up a fight like they did last year in the division. I would not be surprised if we see them. And no, that will be Louie who will be doing that Rams episode. So I'm going to give this win to the Rams here. I mean, even though Daryl Washington, now with the loss of Steven Jackson, Daryl Richardson is going to be starting. I don't know if you listen, which you probably don't, to the Rich Eisen podcast, like we've mentioned on some of our podcasts. We really like listening to podcasts, but they're really fun to listen to. You should listen. And turns out that when the Rams were drafting, they got Daryl Richardson in the 7th round, and there was a tornado going on in St. Louis. And Les Snead and I think one other guy stayed in the room to make the pick during a tornado. So that's pretty interesting backstory. So then, a win to the Rams here, giving the Bears a 6-5 record. Now week 13 at the Vikings. This is a pretty good game. I mean, the Vikings obviously improved greatly over the course of the offseason for the reasons I said earlier, having a great draft. Still having Adrian Peterson, which is just unstoppable. But I'm gonna give the Vikings this win. I really like what they've done over the offseason for this to happen. I think the Bears are gonna drop to 6-6. They had trouble stopping Peterson last year. I mean, who did 2,000 yards? And he's gonna be a problem again. Just now there's more weapons. There's Cordarrelle Patterson, there's Greg Jennings, there's Jerome Simpson. And I like that. And Vikings, I think they're going to put up a lot better season than they did last year, even though, well, actually, I don't know about that, because they made the playoffs last year, believe it or not. And that was interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again. So, 6-6 after that week 14, the Cowboys. This is on Monday night. I'm going to give this a win. I mean, the Cowboys are just such a mess. I think it was against the Bears last year on a night game where Tony Romo threw 5 interceptions, and that was just awful. I don't think there's really a big debate here. I think the Bears will win this game for all reasons I've said. I mean, I don't like Romo. I don't know why Jerry Jones would give him such a big contract. He really hasn't done much. He hasn't been clutch like other guys like Eli Manning have, or Joe Flacco, or Aaron Rodgers. Not saying Flacco's elite, but that's what's not made Tony Romo an elite quarterback in this league is his. He really hasn't been clutch when the Cowboys really need him. So I'm gonna give this win to the Bears, making them 7-6 with only 3 weeks left. They really gotta win out. They gotta win out if they want a chance at making this playoffs. And yeah, sorry about that. So week 15 at the Browns. I think this one's going to be a win for the Bears. I mean, they're going to be desperate at this point with a 7-6 record coming into this week. I mean, other than Trent Richardson, there's really not a lot of bright spots on that offense. I'm just not a Brandon Weeden fan, and I think the Bears, this should be an easy win as long as they show up to play. And so I'm going to give that one to the Bears, making them 8-6. Week 16 at the Eagles in Philly. I mean, they have a good fan base there. I'm going to give this one a win to the Bears. I mean, obviously, who knows what's going on with Chip Kelly right now and who they're going to start. I mean, you might know right now when you're listening to us, whenever you are, but right now we don't know. I mean, it's a toss-up. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Vic, but, there's still Nick Foles there. They drafted Matt Barkley in the 4th round, and Dennis Dixon's still there. I'm expecting one of those guys to get cut. I mean, Lou will elaborate more on that situation when he does the Eagles schedule rundown, but when that happens, so I'm going to give this one to the Bears still. I like their Bears offense. I like their defense. I think they're going to be a good team, even though I think the Eagles are going to vastly improve from last season. Obviously, it's not that much to go besides up after that 4-12 year. So now, final week, the Packers. They're 9-6. Who knows where the Packers are at this point? I'm guessing this could be a fight for the division or a fight for their wild card. And I think the Bears are going to win it. I think they're going to end the season on a 4-game win streak. The Packers are going to come into their house, and they're just going to be ready for this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win it, but I think the Bears could pull this one out and potentially secure themselves a playoff spot. So at the end of the season, I have them going 10-6. I mean, once we get to the NFC North division video, that's when we'll figure it all out, where they'll end up. So that's a pretty good year. I mean, that's what they finished last year, and Lovie Smith got fired, surprisingly. So yeah, next schedule rundown being done will be the Packers, and by Louie will be the Lions. So yeah, be sure to check in on that. Also, go to GetRealFootball.com to check out all of our podcasts, which are going up a couple a week, once or twice a week. And so go to GetRealFootball.com, and then you'll see on the side, it'll say the football experts. That'll be us. Click on that, and it should bring you to a page of us. We're having some technical difficulties right now, and also, they should be going up on GetRealPodcast.com, so I'm not sure. So follow me on Twitter at DaveCrestSports for latest updates, latest sports updates, and other junk like that. So we'll see you next time for the Packers video.